What is up, my spectacular Spider Spy spectator specpowers here? You can call me Mr. Pixar fan or Mr. Toy Story fan because it is time for me to do a YouTube video on a review on the movie Toy Story. That is right. The one and only it's not the only movie in the franchise, but it's the movie from 1995 directed by the one and only John Lasseter and starring Tom Hanks as Woody, who you see on the right, and Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, as you see here on the left. Just to name a few, there are other cool stars in this film, and let's get on with this, shall we? So, as you can see, there's Woody, and there's Buzz. There's the nice logo / title, Disney Pixar Toy Story, rated G for general audiences, all ages admitted, released in 1995, 1 hour 25 minutes, comedy, action. Meet Woody, Buzz, and the gang in an adventure full of humor and heart. That sounds awesome, right? And it is it's the first feature-length CGI movie ever made in history, and it ended up becoming the highest-grossing film of 1995, which is one of the things I admire about this film. It shows you how creative they were in regards to the story and development, etc. So it is about this toy named Woody, the cowboy toy, voiced by Tom Hanks. Forrest Gump, bro, and Forrest Gump. No, that's another video. So Woody, he's the ringleader of these group of toys owned by this little boy named Andy. They reside in his bedroom, which is where he always plays with his toys, unless he decides to take them outside and go downstairs with them. And one day for Andy's birthday party, he gets a handful amount of gifts, including this new toy, which is a Buzz Lightyear, the astronaut toy voiced by Tim Allen, the Santa Claus. Ho ho ho! I'm just kidding. We'll make another video of that eventually one day. The Santa Claus trilogy in the TV series. And Andy becomes so fond of his new toy, and he almost like forgets about Woody, and it causes Woody to get jealous, and as a result, Woody tries to cause shenanigans, and one day he indirectly causes Buzz to go missing, and he has to find him, and then as a result, they get lost, and then in the process of getting lost, they get toy napped, stolen by their neighbor Sid, who's the villain of this movie. He's a kid who likes to torture toys, and they have to escape from his house before they get tortured too. So, and Buzz Lightyear, unlike other toys, he thinks he's really the person that he's the toy of. Like, Buzz Lightyear is a Space Ranger superhero, and the toy, he thinks he's the real Buzz Lightyear, but he's really a toy, so he can't actually fly, he can't actually go to space, etc. And it's really interesting. It has a good friendship theme and love and comedy, and it shows you how kids love to never truly forget their toys, like they're their best friends. It really does good on the friendship theme. Like, it develops on that very, very well. And the CGI is really amazing. It wasn't easy to do. Like, back then when they did the CGI of this movie, it was not easy to model human being characters, so it was a lot easier to do toys as the main characters instead of the human beings. Like, feature-length Pixar movies like The Incredibles was not possible to animate at this time. Incredibles wouldn't have been possible at this time in 1995, 9 years before it ended up coming out. So it's amazing how far they've gone starting from here to today in 2024 at the time of this recording. And again, it's a great movie, good development, good characters, not slow for 85-minute movie. It's action-packed, very eventful. A lot of things happen every few minutes. Interesting obstacles for the characters. They really did care about the story. The story is really good, alongside the other movies, which we'll do videos on eventually. And it has that song "You Got a Friend in Me," which lives on in our hearts / brains forever, in our brains forever. And Yeah, it has nice, it's Disney stuff. It also has some references to other movies like the I'm sure this is not the only movie that was referenced in general, but like there's this one scene where like for example, there's this one scene where Woody turns his head around all the way. That's a reference to The Exorcist, which is another good movie that I like, and I'll do a review on that eventually. I actually watched that for the first time ever in my life in whole a few months ago, last year at the time of this recording, around its 50th anniversary celebration, which is interesting. And so yeah, like Toy Story, and like at the time of this recording, Toy Story 5 is in development, so it's gonna be a 5 movie franchise, like excluding the spin-off Lightyear, which I mean, I accept it as part of the franchise, but you know, I'm talking about like main franchise wise. We'll talk about those in the future. So it shows you how far this franchise has gone. And it's also the first feature-length Disney Pixar movie ever made. Like Pixar has already been around for a long time, but beforehand, every single film they made were short films, like the one about the birds, the one about the guy from Toy Story 2 playing chess, the toy box, etc. And yeah, and the animating is a lot more detailed slash clean compared to back then. So it shows you progress is really good when it comes to Pixar and Disney. And they made a lot of references to Toy Story over the years in Disney amusement parks and other Disney and Pixar films. And I've met Woody and Jesse one time, and I've seen Buzz in the parks too. They got Toy Story Land and Hollywood Studios, which I go to every year. I go to Disney World every year. If you watch my Disney World vacation videos, then you'll see I'm right about that. I go to the Buzz Lightyear ride in Magic Kingdom every year. Yeah, Mom? Yep, I will. Sorry, that's my mother. We're having a pool party at the time of this recording. I'm almost done. Uh, and like, it shows a lot of love. Like, Andy loves his toys. And like, interesting fun fact, like, it's like one of the best Disney movies ever. I really mean that. It's like good, caring, and charismatic, and very developed, well developed. Well developed. And here's another fun fact. The other character models that you see, like the other, like Andy's friends, if you look carefully, they're basically clones of Andy's face, like Andy's character model, but you don't see it because, like, if I mean, you could see it if you pause and you look in the background very carefully, but you know, you're not expected to see, meant to see it. So that shows you how hard it was to animate human character models back in the day. Like there have been other Disney Pixar movies, whether it's sequels to Toy Story or other franchises in the Pixar, where like back in the day in 1995, it was impossible. But like there were some movies like where that featured characters were like there are some subsequent movies where like it featured character subsequent sequels and franchises in from Pixar where back in 1990, some sequels. Sorry, there were subsequent sequels and Pixar franchises where they feature characters who were impossible to animate slash model back in 1995. Like it wouldn't have been possible back in the day, and it's amazing how you can overcome it slash like for example Lotso Huggin Bear, the main antagonist for Toy Story 3. He was really impossible to animate, even though they did animate a teddy bear in Toy Story 1 here, but it was like not as much detail. Let's see, who else is in the movie? um I think the other people. Oh, Don Rickles, the late Don Rickles, Jim Varney, the late Jim Varney, Wallace Shawn, who was in the Haunted Mansion, and he was the principal in a Goofy movie, and he was in the Princess Bride, and he was in the remake of Night of the Living Dead. John Ratzenberger, who we talked about multiple times already in some videos, like the Incredibles videos. He was the Underminer in the Incredibles franchise. He was the construction worker in Up. He was the Abominable Snowman in the Monsters Inc. franchise. He was also Mac in the Cars franchise, which is another franchise I personally enjoy slash love, and we'll do a YouTube video on those movies in the future eventually, especially that Cars 4 is potentially in development at the time of this recording. And yeah, like Pixar is really awesome, and they over the years they did a reference to Toy Story. Like one of the references is the Pixar ball, the Toy Story ball, which is iconic, and it shows up in the scene where Andy and his friends are playing ball in his bath in the birthday party scene. Oh, and speaking of which, I just realized another well-known actor who's now unfortunately deceased is in this movie. Arlie Ermy, the late Arlie Ermy. He was awesome too. He was Sarge, the Green Soldier, lead ringleader of the Green Soldier toy. Uh, Annie Potts from Ghostbusters is in this movie too. She's Bo Peep, and I'm sure there are other well-known people. If there's anybody I'm forgetting, please forgive me, and I hope you understand. And uh, like, like um, like um, like yeah, it's why do I feel like I'm forgetting someone? Um, um, uh. Sorry, I'm trying to forget. Did I forget? I'm trying to remember. Did I forget anything? I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's so they have to get home to Andy, and it's interesting. They Woody and Buzz they bond throughout. They bond throughout this movie. Yeah, they bond throughout this movie. Yeah, yeah. And I thought I was forgetting something. Sorry. They bond, and it's really awesome and good story and character development. And a good story and it's fun, and the way it gets the audience, it really tends to get you. It makes you want to cry. Good emotions. It shows you how much John Lasseter and everyone else cared about this movie's story and development. And again, it wasn't easy to do. So yeah, Toy Story, released in 1995, starring Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, just to name a few. I totally recommend it. 10 out of 10 for sure. When it comes to the Pixar franchises. Yeah, and yeah, yeah. So yeah, Pixar, it's really good. Totally watchable, everybody. So yeah, rate, favorite, subscribe, even comment. I'll talk to you later, and we'll talk more about these other movies in the company and slash franchise. And I'll see you later. Talk to you in a bit. Peace. Later. You've got a friend of me to infinity and beyond. So long, partner.